Right then, hello everyone, and welcome to another stream. I know I normally use Rumble or StreamYard. At the moment, I'm having a bit of technical issues with that for some unknown reason. I will sort it out though, and get back to it so we can get something sorted. Plus, I've also got new things planned for the intros and outros, etc., which are a little bit more fitting, but they're a work in progress. So we'll just have to do with YouTube live streaming as it comes. And we can hopefully get this thing going. So, last night I did a live stream about the announcement that the Chancellor had made, which was £1 million of taxpayers' money had been assigned to the creation of a statue to celebrate the 149,000 Muslims that died fighting for us during World War II. Now, initially, I thought, hello, Time Prophet, by the way, and hello, Sadiko. Nice of both of you to meet. There is a poll running at the moment at the top of the chat, and we'll keep getting that running as we go, and we'll see the results of that at the end. So, I responded that really, was it necessary to get all angry and upset over that said statue? Now, I still think that, well, actually, no, I don't think. The thing is, I understand why people are getting upset about it. I've had a look and I found something which I'm going to go through with you in a moment that kind of puts things in a bit more perspective. And the fact that it's come to a stage where enough is enough. Now, I have been trying. Hello, Sheila. It's nice to meet you. So, I was trying to find some sort of common ground, somewhere we can meet, somewhere we can try and sort this mess out. Because we need as many people to stand the line as humanly possible. It is what it is, and we need that. Now, the problem is, I think Lawrence Fox's comment was crass to those Muslim lost. Well, yes, it was. And no, they weren't defending our country. They were defending their country. They were fighting with us, but they were defending India. Common ground is hard to find. And that is because what are called moderate Muslims are in a difficult position. But the common ground is standing up and saying something. Hello, Cruel Rehab. Welcome. And that's the common ground we need. Not trying to find other reasons to be together. And the thing is, moderate Muslims, like moderate Christians, like moderate everybody else, what we need especially is for moderate Muslims to speak up and to speak out. Because when they do, and I've got something that will show you in a little bit what happens, but when they do speak out, just like the rest of us, they're silenced. But obviously then they have their community turning against them as well. Now, what Lawrence said was crass in some respects, but in other respects, I get it. And the reason I get it is because he was highlighting... The thing is with Lawrence Fox is he's a very reactionary kind of guy. And many, many times he doesn't think before he says, even though the message that he gets through is there. And in reality, what he was doing was highlighting the fact that it would be a statue for people to do as is being done to our war memorials. Now, we have the cenotaph. In fact, we have many, many war memorials around the country, which are to celebrate either local people, but generally to celebrate all dead. The cenotaph says all glorious dead. So it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. There is already a memorial there. of which they desecrate or try to desecrate on a weekly basis. I never think before I speak, Time Prophet says, and Sadako says, I think I'm reactionary too. It's my weakness. It is, but it isn't. And in fact, I think we've got to a stage now, which is why I've said enough really is enough, is where we have to be reactionary. We have to have these voices. Yes, I agree that the way Lawrence Fox worded it was crass in some respects, but I also get it and I understand where he's coming from. It was to highlight the issue with this statue. Now, £1 million is a total nothing, really, money-wise for the country. But the simple truth of the matter is, no one really asked for this. I don't remember any Muslims making any request of said statue to be created at all. And it's done, and it's been done specifically to pour petrol upon this fire. This fire, which will cause more pressure, which will cause us to be pushed further down the tunnel. The tunnel that now, really, if you pay attention, genuinely doesn't have any light at the end of it. Or you can see, if you pay attention and look, it's just going to get darker and darker and darker. The only light there is on this tunnel is behind us, where we're being pushed. And what we need to do is push back. I'm fully aware that this statue and the announcement of this statue was to push. It was apparently appeasement, but to be fair, I know a fair few Muslims, and they really don't give a shit about this statue. They're not interested. They never asked for one. Why are we getting one? And quite a few people actually see straight through it. There are war memorials, as I said, everywhere, and we don't need another one. There is a memorial. The only real one that's any different is to the Polish, but that was all to do with how they fought at the Battle of Britain. But that was a group of people. So, you know. Now, I've got a few things that I've sort of gone through here. And then one thing that really threw me over the edge. I already knew about it, but then when I heard the statement and took a bit of time to think about it and lock the two together, it made perfect sense. And this is what tipped me over the edge, so to speak, because it is enough. The only way that there can be any common ground, and the only way that we can solve this issue, is if moderate Muslims, which I hate the word moderate, technically I'm a moderate Christian, unless Muslims stand up and speak out, genuinely speak out, regardless of religions. If you like having a free society, you need to speak up as it's going away. Exactly. Now, if you don't say anything, if you are of the Muslim faith and you don't like what's going on and you sit in silence, you're not helping. And I know it's difficult for you to do that. I know it's difficult to stand up because you get ostracized not only by your community, but you also get attacked and silenced like we are, and bandied as something else. Even Sadiq Khan many, many years ago called you Uncle Toms, which is ultimate insult. And it's not, because if this is what you want, and I know there are people out there who genuinely want to be part of this wonderful country, once wonderful country, then you need to stand up, stand shoulder to shoulder with people like myself, and stand the line and say enough is enough. No, it really is enough now. So I'll bring up the first thing, which puts things into perspective. So, as you can see, outspoken atheist, anti-theist, right, okay? And what he's put is correct. 1,400 years ago, when Islam was created in the 7th century, Iran was Zoroastrian. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Today it's Muslim. Iraq was Christian. Today it was Muslim. Turkey was Christian. Today it's Muslim. Lebanon was Christian. Today, with a Muslim majority, Christians are disappearing from there. Egypt was Christian. Today it's 92% Muslim. Christians are persecuted and exterminated there, as they are all over the world, which everybody just turns a blind eye to for no apparent reason. Saudi Arabia was with pagans, Christians and Jews. Today it is Muslim. Yemen was a Jewish kingdom. Today it's Muslim. Pakistan was Hindu. Today it's Muslim with an exterminated, persecuted and Hindu minority. Okay. Afghanistan was Hindu. Today it's Muslim. Britain today is Christian. Slowly being conquered by Islam. Holland today is Christian, slowly being conquered by Islam. Sweden, which is in a terrible, terrible state, which is never reported. I mean, it's worse there than it is here. Is Christian, slowly being conquered by Islam. France today is Christian, slowly being conquered by Islam. Germany today is Christian, slowly being conquered by Islam. Spain today is Christian. Guess what? Slowly being conquered by Islam. Italy today is Christian. Slowly being conquered by Islam. We got a map there of the spread of it. Now, it's quite obvious that this is a problem. Now, remember, we need to separate the two, although it is very difficult to separate Muslims from Islam. Islam is the issue. Islam, the religion, is the problem. And that's what needs to be addressed. The left want Israel to be similarly conquered by the extreme of Islam. Yes, and the Hamas charter, in short, says they will have peace when they destroy their enemies and rule the world. Yes, it's that simple. So we have that. And then we also have something I'm going to... let me just pause that. Sorry, I'm going to bring that up now. We have this, because of course Ireland is struggling just as much as us. And this is the kind of thing that you get in Ireland. I'll just play this quick. How is that acceptable? In reality, as I've said multiple times, what is going on over in Gaza, Palestine, with the Israelis has and is nothing to do with any of us here in the West. So how is this acceptable, other than an insult and an attempt to rub people's noses out of joint? We hear you, we see you, it's nothing to do with you. Look, if you feel that passionate about it that you have to go and stick a flag somewhere and pretend that you care, go and solve it yourself. Bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. Just unbelievable. Let's just go back to the chat. Sadiko, I'm sorry, but ISIS was the chance for the moderates to speak out and perhaps reform. Nothing happened. I agree. I agree. Now, personally, if there is a Muslim who's moderate and wishes to come out and speak out against these things, all my links are up there. My DMs are open. Please feel free to drop me one. Probably, it does chill me. This chills me to the bone. It does. Ireland has got it back. Ireland is fighting back. My great friend Noel and the No Zone has just had a very good chat with one of the gentlemen fighting back in Ireland, because they're fighting back as much as they are. Oh, hello, Herman the Tosser. Nice to meet you. See you in there. Is Islam pish? It's absolutely BS. Well, it is, but it's also taking over because no one's pushing back against it. Because we're being told we have to accept it, and we have to accept it, and we can't criticise it because that's racist against a religion, which is something that doesn't happen. So we create the word Islamophobia, which is an irrational fear of Islam. It's not an irrational fear. And that's done to shut down speech. And as I said before in the other videos I've done, no religion, in fact, nothing in this world should be above criticism. Everybody should be able to criticise whatever they want to criticise. Because that's very important. To be able to criticise, to be able to speak freely about things, to create the conversation is what we need. And to create, once the conversation is created, we go through, we figure it out, and we get the truth. Freedom of speech isn't the right to say whatever you want to say. Freedom of speech is to protect the truth. Through conversation, we reach the truth. And once we reach the truth, then that solves the problem. But the problem is we're not allowed to have that conversation. It's thrown under the word Islamophobia, and that's the end of the conversation. If we don't have the conversation, we can't find any common ground, which I don't think there is because, well, there is, as long as they speak up, but no one's speaking up. Plastic African. So it's theological, I would say, many institutions of faith. There are wealth it draws, always power at best ones. Exactly. I mean, we've just had here the Church of England, £100 million they've gathered from parishioners, no doubt, which they're going to pay reparations for slavery. That's got nothing to do with any of us who are alive today. Because I've never owned a slave, and you've never been on the fields picking, on the fields. It's you can't blame people. What was the name of the comedian who said it? He'll come to me, but he actually said quite rightly, and to paraphrase him, paying reparations to people who have nothing to do with it will be paying child maintenance for a child that isn't yours, for a woman you never fucked. That's what reparations is. So our Church of England is doing that, and apparently that's not enough. They want billions. But who are they going to pay it to? And we have to also remember that every religion, every book of religion, hiya PD, nice to see you, mate, can be, and there's plenty of passages in the Bible where you can justify murdering somebody. It doesn't make it should, but it's there. It's quite rightly there. The Tosso don't feel, I just wish you'd F off. Thing is, we are one of the most tolerant countries in the world. We genuinely are. And that's been taken advantage of, to be fair. But the thing is, if you want to practice your religion, feel free. But that shouldn't mean that your religion becomes better than everybody else's. And as I said before in the video, the Islamophobia is just a way to bring blasphemy laws back into this country, to make this country secular, which never works. Northern Ireland, for instance, yeah, Protestant against Catholic. It never works. It never has done. There will never be common ground. There could be. I genuinely believe there could be if, and it's a big if, and I know it's a huge ask, but if moderate, Muslims would stand up and speak with us, that's what we need. That's what needs to happen. That's genuinely what needs to happen. We're not tolerant. The MPs are. Agreed. Well, no, we used to be tolerant. We used to be very tolerant. But unfortunately, we've been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed until there is no such thing as tolerance anymore, because we can see what's coming and now we're getting angry. The English are very slow to stir, but once stirred, we are rather formidable. Well, that is ridiculous. Father Robinson called it out as it should be. The son should not be damned for the sins of his father. Correct. Absolutely spot on. Can't argue with that. Yeah, one would think we're not an island here. Yeah, this is true. But we left it open. There's no moderate Muslims that are on the same marches. Not all of them. We have to be. I know it's easy to blame everybody. I'm not really 100% behind this totalitarianism. They're all the enemy, because surely there are those who don't think that way, even though it's really hard for them. I get it, because their religion is just ridiculous. If it takes over this country, it would mean the end of all my music, film, radio, books, etc. It will be Fahrenheit 451 21st century style. Absolutely right. I mean, I've said this to I've said this to Mrs. Gobby. You know, if it comes in, then she loses everything. She won't be able to do anything. I have had several people trying to explain to me how good it is. No, it's not. We can all see how bad it is. The UK is a very accepting place, but if we kick off, and then you're done. Well, this is it. But the problem is, they know this. Those in power know this. They know this, and that's why they've been placating us. That's why they've been bringing in rules. Now, the issue is banning the marches, say, for Free Palestine. Excuse me, I need a drink. Thank you. But the problem is, if we ban that march, because it's a hate march, what's to say they can't say the next one's a hate march? You know, like the ones we might want to do. We live in a very dangerous world. It's very, very dark. It's getting darker every time we speak. And then it doesn't help when we have what can only be described as two-tier policing. Now, I'm going to play a video. I'm not going to have the sound on it, so I'm just going to bring it up and play it. And just to give you an idea of two-tier policing. Obviously, this side is a Free Palestine march. This side is how the police react at a football match. See the difference? Football fans, full riot gear, batons drawn, horses, loads of police, all aggressive, all ready to fight, got all their stuff on. Because of football fans. This side, nothing. No helmets, no batons, no armour, no nothing. This is two-tier. This is two-tier policing. And this is how it would be if white people marched. We'd get this one, not that. Now, why these people aren't being arrested, I don't know. Go back. Look, I mean, this is your two-tier policing in full view. 100%. This is what I expect when I come out of a football match compared to when I go out screaming death to all Jews. Please explain the difference other than the obvious one. Time Profit, I think the government are using the Muslims to ban all protests. Of course, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Makes absolute perfect sense. Why wouldn't they? It makes perfect sense to stop it now. So we've got all that. Now, just to give you an example of what happens and the level of thought. Are you trying to say the police hate football? No, they don't hate football. They hate us who go watch it. It makes you think. It should make you think. Remembering that coming out of a football match, there may be 10, 15,000 people. And they turn up like that. That'll be just to get you to your train, by the way. Yeah. That's what you would get from the stadium all the way down to the train. That's the kind of treatment that you would get. So, in any case, I'm going to play this next clip. Just to go and show you the level of issue that we have. Now, I'm going to bring it up before I start it. Right, so this guy, they're both obviously Muslims. This guy, if you listen near the end, tries to be a bit moderate. And listen to the reaction of this guy, but listen to how they feel. Just listen.
The time that we're living in today is very, very hard to claim that. Imposing onto you, saying that you have to accept the British values. And Muslims are being put in situations where they're asked, are you a Muslim first or are you a British first?
Well, that's a load of bullshit for a start off. Absolute bullshit. But in any case, let's listen.
Yeah, but these are easy questions to answer. I'm a Muslim first. Like, what's the issue?
But that's you
There you go. What's the issue?
not being loyal to the country that you claim to be from. You see, that's what Muslims are now. By saying that statement, you're a foreigner from us now.
Our hatred for the...
Did you hear that? At the end? By him saying, what's the problem? This other Muslim says that he's the enemy. Even though this guy here says he hates it here. I hate living with them. I hate it. He hates. These two people hate being here. But even when he says, well, what's wrong with just saying you're a Muslim first? He says, well, you're the enemy. I don't get the logic. And this is what you've got to fight against. This is the kind of logic that they have. And it's not acceptable. And that's what we've got to fight against. This is what you're against all the time. The question, why doesn't he go back home then? Because they like it here, really, because they get what they want. By screaming and shouting, they get what they want. By acting like petulant children, they get what they want. By threatening violence, they get what they want. I mean, the Met Police recently said that they don't really want to ban the marches because if it does, it'll probably cause a terrorist attack. That's what you're against. That's what we're against. So all this, if you can't integrate into British society, come and make a good point. Well, yeah, exactly. Now, all this was going on while I started doing all this after I'd had my speech about not losing your shit over a statue. But yes, we should, because it's just one more thing that's being given. Just one more thing. Oh, yeah, you can have that. Even though, to be fair, I didn't even know any of them had asked for one. And in fact, I don't think I've ever found anyone having a request for it or a group for it or anyone talking about it. It's like we've done it because Savage Javid wants it. What? So, got through all this, and then I got sent, well, this document, which kind, well, no, it doesn't. It actually joins everything together. Yeah, one more straw time profit. It's that's the straw that broke my back. That's it. I've had enough now. There's no point trying to, unless fellow, Muslims are prepared to stand up and speak out, then there's no point in trying to find common ground. There's no time trying to understand it. Yes, I know it's difficult, but it's no more difficult than me having to do this. I could have stuck doing Doctor Who videos. YouTube took my comment off. You got to be careful, mate. YouTube will do that. It's quite stringent. They're probably watching this stream in any case. I'm surprised we managed to get going as far as we've got, but there you go. Yes, have a jabby from the planet Mahaz. You have a jabad. Yeah. So, in any case, then I saw this, and I'm going to read this through with you, and we can have a little bit of a chat in the over it, because this it does literally look like an alien. This puts things into perspective a little bit more, and this is something that no one, as far as I know, has covered. So I'm doing it. I'm bringing it out there so everybody can see. Foreign Office holds seminar for teaching that Hamas are not terrorists. It also suggests that Israel was a white settler colonist nation. kind of puts the we're having a statue into perspective, doesn't it? The Foreign Office held a seminar where officials told that calling Hamas terrorists was an obstacle to peace. And was suggested that Israel was a white secular colonist nation, the JC can reveal. 4 academics, led by Professor Geron Gunning of King's College London, delivered the session to civil servants, including those specialising in the Middle East, at the British Diplomatic Services London headquarters last Wednesday. And then we get told they're having a statue put up to celebrate Muslim soldiers, when they're also saying, shh, look, don't call them as terrorists, because it's a bit of an obstacle to peace. Many of the claims made during the 75-minute meeting directly contradicted Britain's foreign policy, with Professor Gunning claiming that there could be no future without Hamas. Let this just sink in. Somebody's actually saying we have to put up with Hamas. Remember when they said we have to put up with ISIS? We have to put up with the IRA. A Foreign Office spokesman vowed to review guidance on internal seminars to ensure speakers invited are appropriate. Too late. Sorry, Herman, if you're being attacked, but I can't control any of that, I'm afraid. The lecturers had previously co-authored a paper arguing that Britain's tough line on Hamas had contributed towards provoking the October the 7th. Yeah, they are deranged. But they're now saying that by us speaking like we did, we actually helped facilitate that horrendous attack on October the 7th. This is people instructing our Foreign Office what to think. The seminar was attended by about 100 government officials, most of them online via Microsoft Teams network, which is only accessible via security vetted Foreign Office staff, and as the JC understands. The internet is great, but can be seen so hopeless when spotting the obvious when all this stuff going on. Correct. Yeah. I'm carrying on. It gets better. The seminar billed as a background briefing under the title Israel Gaza. What's next for Hamas? Well, what's next for Hamas is complete and utter annihilation, preferably, because we could do well without them. Sadako, there is hope. Hope lies with people standing up and speaking out. Like, I'm surprised no one else has covered this article, because it makes things fit just nicely now. It was organised by Foreign Office's top Middle East research analyst, Martin Hetherington. There's old Professor Gungton, if you want to know what he looks like. Yeah, not surprised. Several speakers said that to apply terrorist label to Hamas was unhelpful. It's very unhelpful to call them evil, sadistic, murdering bastards, the terrorists that they are. But that's very unhelpful. And an obstacle to peace. And in their view, Hamas's political wing was moderate. Moderate? Yeah. So what's a moderate Muslim? Well, a moderate Hamas guy is the political wing. They're quite moderate. I mean, literally. The 5 of us speaking out is not going to do a lot of damage. No, I agree. That's why more need to speak out. And if it takes 5 of us, it takes 5 of us. It takes 10, it takes 20. By just continually saying something and trying to push the message out, we can't give in. Even though there is a lot against us, we have to fight. Yeah, it is Wokey McWokey face. And therefore, there was a need to engage with them. We're supposed to have a social chit-chat with them. Well, we've been trying to have a social chit-chat with them for ages to get this ceasefire, which they flatly refuse to do anything. And every time there's a ceasefire chat, which is not reported by the media, they fire thousands of rockets into Israel because they don't want peace. A peace talk to Hamas is pretty much like the Vietnamese did in the Vietnam War. It's just to give them a break so they could rearm. One of the lecturers, Dr. Tristan Dunning, Gunning and Dunning, really? I think you might have mentioned the buzzword, that's all. You probably did, Herman. That's what normally happens. One of the lecturers from the University of Queensland said, as an Australian, I know all about white settler colonisation and stealing land from the native population. Oh, for fuck's sake, where do they get these fucking idiots from? Stealing land. You didn't. You just steal the land around the coast. You left the middle bit. It was a bit too bleeding hot. And there's Mr. Dunning. Just so you know. What a surprise. Anyone surprised he looks like that? I'm not. When asked whether the massacre should be described as terrorism, the academics did not reply. Okay, let that sink in just for a minute. That massacre that those bastards did. Hello, Adam Murray. Welcome. That massacre that happened, they refused to speak about. They didn't want to call it terrorism, even though that's actually the definition of terrorism. But Professor Dunning said it should be seen as resistance. Resistance. These people who teach, these are university, and you wonder why university-educated idiots don't have no idea about nothing. To Israel's occupation. Bollocks, and Israel was to blame for its treatment of Palestinians. Right, so that justifies what happened on the 7th. Yep. If you have a conversation with aggressives, that's all you get. There will be no debate because I'm right because. Well, these guys are just raving fucking lunatics. Professor Dunning, absolutely. Although Hamas had failed to build civilian bomb shelters and barred ordinary people from its tunnels, the lecturer said protecting civilians was the responsibility of the occupying power. Isn't that funny? It's not Hamas's, the people who caused all the problems and are supposed to be in charge and rule that area. It's not their responsibility to look after the civilians. It's Israel's now, all of a sudden. How's that work? And the higher civilian casualty rate was Israel's fault. Well, not really, is it? I mean, they use them as human shields, but, these guys literally might as well come in wearing Palestinian flags. Again, I do not know why people have not covered this. This really needs to get out there. If you listen to this and you please like and especially share. Let's get this message out. That these people are briefing. They're briefing our foreign service. Our foreign office, telling them what to think. Jesus. Asked about Israeli hostages, one of the speakers claimed that Palestinian convicts in Israel were hostages too. No, they were arrested for breaking the law, you knobhead. Oh my God. PD Rich, Gazans are not Palestinians, as they both hate each other and live 48 miles apart. Correct. They voted Hamas in, didn't they? Yes, exactly. But no, apparently it's not their responsibility. In truth, the 1984 Israel War of Independence was brutal. A lot of massacres of Palestinians happened. Yeah, but a lot of them also, we can't go on who did what to who. Let's get to the situation that's causing. The workers have also destroyed the British Army. Tell me about it. There's no hope unless you think you're a transgender soldier can help you. Don't even go there. I mean, the videos I've already done on the military, and there's more to come. I mean, 1,000 prisoners, but only 100 down. I mean, this is like trying to justify it. This is the sick mentality of the left that we have to put it with. These guys are actually trying to justify what happened on the 7th of October and that we're all idiots thinking any other. Unbelievable. Professor Gunning and Dr. Dunning were joined by Dr. Anas Iqat of Australian National University in Canberra and the University of Sydney's Dr. Martin Kerr. There you are. They co-authored a paper submitted to the House of Commons on the Foreign Affairs Select Committee on the 7th of November that claimed Britain was partly to blame for the October 7 massacre, could now be held accountable for genocide. Here we go. So we've committed genocide even though we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. But now they're saying we are. And knowing our government will pay fucking reparations to them. Jesus Christ. How are these knobheads allowed? The policies were trying to kill them alongside. Well, yes, exactly, but that doesn't get covered, does it? Britain's decision to prescribe Hamas as a terrorist organisation in its entirety and its lack of commitment to ending the Gaza siege had helped create conditions for the horrific attacks on the 7th of October. Bullshit. Absolute steaming bullshit. and had fostered a permissive environment for Israel to target any building or person in Gaza, the paper said. Yep, another Anglophobe. This is a new word that we know. We had Islamophobe. Now you're Anglophobe. You hate English people. Blame Britain. Oh, yeah. Well, what do you expect? And the thing is, the idiots that they're speaking to go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree. It's all us. Unbelievable. It added, coupled with the UK's continued support for Israeli government, including the licence of arms components used in the current bombardment, this could make the UK complicit in war crimes committed during Israel's punitive war. Punitive? You've seen the state of Gaza recently. War on Gaza, including the potential for charge of genocide. So we're going to get charged as well. Genuinely, fucking idiot. Oh my God. Why people have just ignored this, I don't know. It added, coupled with the, oh no, we've already done that. Sorry about that. Israel, the paper claimed, had apparent genocidal intent and suggested that a high Israel death toll on October 7th may have been the result of so-called Hannibal Directive, which instructed IDF soldiers to prevent Israeli soldiers from being counted by killing them. Just out of curiosity, what fucking thing did you see? I didn't see any soldiers being killed by other soldiers. These guys, this is the mentality, ladies and gentlemen, of the left, who are genuinely trying to make this out to be anything else. Hello, Cam's Crash Course, nice to meet you. Yeah, beardy weirdy. Fucking mental. These are bleeding. And this is a so-called professor at a university. Just think about that for a minute. These are the people teaching the young. And we wonder why everything's going so shit-faced. In this case, the accusation that Israeli forces killed Israeli civilians. What an utter load of bollocks. And this is being spoken and told to members of our Foreign Office. Foreign Office staff have been told the discussions would focus on the future of Hamas in Gaza and the implications for security and reconstruction, and the future of Hamas with the wider Palestinian movement, and what it means for reform of the PLO and any future Middle East peace process. How come it was gingers who came? Well, it's a good point, Adam. Can't argue with that. I really can't argue with that. Lord Pollock, Honorary President of the Conservative Friends of Israel, told the JC he was astonished to hear last week's seminar and was demanding an immediate investigation of how it had taken place. Because it will. Because one of the biggest problems this country faces is its civil service, its left-wing civil service. One, how do we have the most educated people in the history of the world? Indeed. He recalled the Foreign Secretary Lord Cameron had said if Hamas were left in charge of even a part of Gaza, there would never be a two-state solution because you can't expect Israel to live next to a group of people that want to do October 7th all over again. Yeah, okay, Lord Cameron, dickhead. Should never have been brought back into politics. And I've got something else if I can find it. That means America's about to stick the knife into Israel, and I'll cover that in a second. Pollock committed, I will therefore be asking the Foreign Secretary to invest in the internal Foreign Office meeting held on the 28th of February to explain why such a meeting with the reported speakers and findings were able to take place. Peace, the PLO destroyed nearly every country they took them in. Correct, Sadika. 2, do we have access to more information than anyone else in the history of the world? Yeah. A Foreign Office spokesman said the UK government's position is unequivocally that Hamas is a terrorist organisation. Many of the views expressed by academics in the seminar were wrong and contrary to the government's position. So why did you allow it to happen? We have a zero-tolerance approach to any form of discrimination, including anti-Semitism. We are reviewing guidance on internal seminars to ensure speakers are invited appropriately. So, we'll have an investigation. We already knew it was happening. No one did anything, and it took up until now for that to come out. Now, I am going to see if I can find the other thing. Bear with me a second. Let's just go back into the chat. 3, are people stupid? Yeah. Adam should because gingers are usually bullied, so they become bullies themselves. Correct. Can't stand Cameron back when he was still a leftist. He was a large reason why. Indeed. Got to get Gobby's new handle right. You can still call me Gobby, mate. It isn't a problem. I still call myself Gobby, and Mrs. Gobby. Oh, and this might be a new set of merchandise coming out on the shop soon, because I do literally run on coffee. In any case, let's see if we can find what oh, here we go. Let's get this up. Shut up. Right then, I'm going to bring this up as well, which just came up on, today. And this is another sign that perhaps America are going to stick the knife, or should we say Biden, who is apparently just about to give his State of the Union address. And for the first time in history, he's making history today, ladies and gentlemen, because he has 2 authorised rest breaks during his speech, State of the Union address. It's never happened before because, it's Biden. He probably needs to take drugs or something to keep him going. But this is very important. Gobby the Brummie. Absolutely. Gobby Brummie. Right then. So let's get this one up. This was just come up today. I don't, this doesn't look good either. And it doesn't sit right with me. Biden to have US military port built in Gaza. US military will lead emergency missions to establish a port in the Mediterranean on the Gaza coast. Black tea's good. President Biden announced on Thursday during his State of the Union address, really, that the US military will build a port in Gaza. So the Americans, who are supposed to be Israel's friends, are building a port in Gaza. So who are they supporting? The development revealed earlier Thursday by senior administration officials discussed humanitarian aid for the Hamas-controlled territory. You are putting US combat troops, Navy personnel, and personnel in Hamas-controlled territory, and you don't think that might cause a bit of a problem. Tonight in the speech, which he's got to have 2 breaks for, so, the president will announce that he's directing the US military to lead an emergency mission to establish a port in the Mediterranean on the Gaza coast that can receive large cargo ships containing food, water, medicine and temporary shelters, the official said. Right. The second they do that, Hamas will see to call it an invasion by the US, and it'll kick off that way. You see, Zadiko, yeah, it is to get humanity, but it won't be. There's plenty of videos where Hamas have been smashing trucks up and stealing everything off and not passing it on to the people. The US, no, the thing is, once the US do this, because Biden's such a dense-old muppet, yeah, once this happens, Hamas are going to say the US are invading. Because this is Hamas, remember? Trust me, this will not work and this will look bad. This port, the main feature, which is a temporary pier, will provide a capacity of hundreds of additional truckloads of assistance every day. We will coordinate with the Israelis on security requirements on the land and work with the UN and humanitarian NGOs. Understand the distribution assistance within Gaza and Israeli settlements will come via Cyprus, enabled by the US military and a coalition of partners and allies. But every time trucks go in with stuff, Hamas ambush them, smash them up and steal the stuff and then sell it on the streets. I still think Hamas is a Mexican food. And weapons. Yeah, exactly. This is my worry, PD. That's my worry. That this could be used to rearm Hamas. I don't trust Biden one bit. I really don't. The significant capability will take a number of weeks to plan and execute. The forces will be required to complete the mission are already in the region or begin to move there soon. And again, this is going to be seized upon as US military interfering, irrespective of whether it's for humanitarian aid or not. This is something else we have to understand. This is the politics. Oh, we're helping. Are you really? They're not going to see it like that. And you can guarantee Russia's not going to see it like that. China's not going to see it like that. Yeah? Can't trust him. As much as aid needs to get in there, they're not exactly brilliant at looking after their aid. Yeah, I mean, Egyptian truck drivers are now refusing to go over the border because they're sick of their trucks being smashed up and people being hurt because they rob it. They just rob it. We're looking forward to working with our close partners and allies in Europe, the Middle East and beyond to build the coalition countries that will contribute capabilities and funding of this initiative. They're even asking us to pay for it, which of course we will do. I mean, this is going to piss off Zelensky in Ukraine because some of the money's not going to go to him, so he can't own shitloads of stuff and send hundreds of his troops to death for a forever war that's never going to get solved. Also reports to me is they're reportedly ISIS in Gaza. They will be. And they've been in something of a Cold War with Hamas for a while. Well, there's going to be, and this is something else that happens, which is something that a lot of people aren't really addressing, is once Israel, if Israel do actually succeed in removing Hamas, you are going to get a vacuum. And as I've always said, somebody will always fill that vacuum. So you may get rid of Hamas, you may get ISIS in return. It's not the solution. Declining to get ahead of the Department of Defense in terms of number of personnel involved in the operation, security questions. Officials said the mechanism would be established with assistance from the United Nations. It's all going to get robbed. A US ship intercepted missiles heading for Israel, apparently, so technically they're already in it. It depends. They could get around that by saying that they deemed it as an immediate threat to their ship and therefore they were defending themselves. They were fired upon first under the rules of engagement. They could get away with that. And humanitarian partners distribute aid on the land with Gaza. It's not going to happen. World, UN signal no exit civilians caught up in Gaza war, politically toxic. I mean, let's be honest, they're all right up against the border in Egypt, and Egypt's got seven walls between them and themselves, and they won't let any of them in. Have you ever wondered why they won't let them in? This is foreseen to be an operation that won't require US boots on the ground. The officer reiterated, one of the reasons why this development is so key is we're building redundant systems so we aren't relying on one or two crossings as single points of failure in terms of being able to get assistance in. They're not. The second official clarified the operation to build the port involves. Second official clarified that the operation to build the port involves US military personnel on military vessels. It does not require US personnel to go ashore or to install the pier or causeway facility without transport. So basically, we're going to just park a load of ships off there, but they're not coming off because they know that that's just ridiculous. The US has provided more than $180 million of assistance since October the 7th attacks by mass terrorists in southern Israel, according to the Biden administration. I haven't seen anything value of $180 million. The words of Summer of Blood come to mind. Yeah, I agree, PD. I absolutely agree. Responding to the major increase in the needs of Palestinian people has been a priority since day one and remains one today. But the truth is, we all know that the aid flown into Gaza is nowhere near enough and nowhere fast enough because it keeps getting stolen by Hamas as soon as it arrives. There's videos of them selling the stuff off the trucks. Words River of Blood comes to mind. Yeah, I know what you're saying. One of us said the president will make it clear again this evening that we need to do more and that the United States is doing more, and we seek to use every channel possible to get assistance into Gaza. So, back to the statue. Now, I understand why now that this statue is so contentious. I have tried to be as understanding as I can be. Biden moves like a Thunderbird puppet. Who's really pulling the strings? Oh, in my opinion, it's still Obama. Barack Obama is still in charge of the United States of America, and Joe Biden is his puppet. I just thought I'd put that out there. Probably get me into trouble with somebody, but that's who's pulling the strings, if not a higher position. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. The statue and the announcement of the statue, which I did say was a distraction, is actually worse than that. It was done to inflame. It's just literally Obama and the other Clinton, possibly. We don't need another statue. We don't need another war memorial. There's plenty of them. They've desecrated the ones that actually are for them. They don't care. They don't give a shit. This is another thing that seems. You can build that memorial that no one asked for. You did it because you want to appease them and make Savage Javi smile in the House of Commons, like he succeeded in doing something. And they won't give a shit. They're not going to go, oh well, we'll stop doing it now because they've built a memorial to people we don't give a toss about any case. Because most of them are in India. We're not interested in that. Cam, I don't trust or have any faith in politician, right or left, liars, thieves, or worse. I don't agree with either side's policies. Where did the middle of the road go? To be fair, either side is bad, in my opinion. It's not just in your opinion, which is why, in a recent survey, the British public's faith in politicians is just down to just 12%. No one trusts any of them. I mean, if you watch that budget to see the snidey, pathetic, stupid little children dicking about and screaming and shouting like they need their mother to come and give them a clip round the ear was disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful. But then again, we can't vote for anyone else. And that's the problem. There is no one to stand. At the moment, the statue was done to inflame the far right because they need proof of far right. What far right? What far right? Please show me these far right organisations that exist. The far right is a way of getting out of it. I'll blame the far right. Who the far right? Anyone who doesn't agree with us. But also remember, as we're over here going deep into the left, where all the snakes and vipers are, the inevitable swing back, we don't want to go the other way because there are nasty, horrible, evil people on the far right because we're surrounded by demons and evil people because that's what we are. We are surrounded. And this is really genuinely a fight between good and evil. It'll never be enough. Hell, they're not just described as indefensible modern women. Exactly. Anyone against the statue will be considered far right. I don't think it matters because we're all far right, because we're all put that way. We're always predicted, this is how we are portrayed. We are the evil. Now, when Lawrence Fox came out and said, oh, good, something that we can desecrate, I get where he was coming from. He sometimes doesn't put things just right. He is a bit of a reactionary. And he does get pulled up by his friends for it. But in reality, what he was doing was shining a light. Even though they don't care, it'll get desecrated by them. Because they know who asked for it. Honestly, please, anyone, show me any proof of any Muslim group at all requesting a statue for their war dead. Because I've been looking and looking and looking. I spent quite a lot of last night and right here up until recently. I can't find anything. The far right is an easy thing to say. You can just, it's the ultimate scapegoat, isn't it? Oh, it's the bleeding far right. Oh yeah, them thugs. They have no idea what they're talking about. When you go out your way and vilify Tommy Robinson in the House of Commons, again, if you really, really think that made you look good. God, so what is your thoughts of a Lee Rigby memorial? It should be done, 100%, but it won't be. Because that would infuriate their narrative. Because that was, again, disgusting. As a fellow soldier, my blood boiled. I don't like the way Facebook and Twitter, well, not so much Twitter now, but I don't like they remove any pictures of Lee Rigby every time they come up. It's like we shouldn't remember how he was mercilessly slaughtered in our streets and how those two little arseholes are still living it up while we pay for their existence. the far right bogeymen. Well, yeah, Baba Yagas. Anyway, we're all Baba Yaga, the bogeyman. You see, I'm far right. I'm not. I'm not. As I said, I would say I'm centre right at best. But if you want to call me far right, you can. Because what's the point? I'm not going to argue. Because there's no point in arguing. I'm the evil one. Like pop culture trying to find the invisible audience, they're hunting for an invisible enemy. It's not even an invisible enemy. It's just something easy. It's a cast-off line. Pretty much like being called a racist is now. Oh, you're a racist. Even though, due to the court case that Lawrence Fox went through, they can't define racism. To be fair to Lee Rubin's family, they've requested not using his image. I know, and I understand that, and I agree. But the simple truth of the matter is people aren't going to let him go. As much as they want to. I'm neither left nor right. I go with common sense. Well, the thing is, what happened to that? If you think with common sense, you're far right. If you look at something and go, that isn't right, you're far right. In the eyes of everybody. I mean, you're right, even Elon Musk has been called far right because he doesn't agree. Hello, problem being, you're far right. That one's who deny Holocaust and hate the Jews. Well, exactly. That's the proper far right. That is the proper far right. But we all get called it. You know, as I said, it's like being called a racist when 99% of us aren't. But there are real racists. There are real evil far right. As I've said earlier, Lee, when it swings back the other way, yeah, we've got to be careful because if we don't go all the other way, because the other way is even worse, in my opinion. They called the Nazis far right for decades. They're clear they were socialists, exactly, but that'll be argued because it's always argued because they've done that. They can't be socialists. I mean, I got caught since I've started doing this. Since I've started speaking out, the amount of times I've been called Nazi, far right, bigot, brain dead, and God knows 100,001 little things. It means nothing to me because they're just words of nothing. If you aren't on the same level of the left, then you're automatically far right. Exactly. Exactly. So I actually think Elon is a nasty far right figure. No. I have my doubts about Elon. I really do. I don't think he's far right at all. I don't think he's a nasty far right figure. I don't think that can be backed up. But, yeah, as I said, you know, this is my point of view. That's your point of view. And that's awesome that we have these conversations. Of course, they're socialists. They're a radical socialist, not a class of socialism. Absolutely. I think it's no surprise Twitter's become pro-Hamas hellhole under Elon. Well, to be fair, we got what we asked for, to be fair. We wanted somewhere where everybody could speak and say what they wanted to do, a platform for free speech, so we can't complain when we don't get what we want. When it all comes down to it, as I said, freedom of speech actually isn't and should never be giving you the right to say whatever the hell you want. It should be for the protection of the truth and to the gain of the truth. I know Elon's own game and it's a belter. I'm sure it is. Good evening, Gobby. Sorry about your comrade loss. As you can see, I've got Carl's picture and a little candle in the bottom of the screen on this one. Thank you. It's always wounded, even if I don't know. I mean, I never actually physically met Carl, but he was an ex-squaddy. He ate the same mud as me. And if I know anyone, you know, it hurts every soldier. It really does. And Carl was a wonderful man. He was such a lovely man. And it is a shame that he passed away. Twitter's got no freedom of speech. You'll find out if you say certain things. Well, the thing is, again, free speech doesn't give you the right to say whatever you want to say. I mean, we have this problem where we seem to think that's what free speech entitles us to do. Now, there are still rules and laws about what you can and can't say. To be fair, thank you, Problem B. Yeah, if you say certain things, well, that's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And we. Thank you, Herman. He was a great bloke. The far left and the far right, exactly the same thing, RG, but just two ends of it. Exactly. They don't think that the nasty bastards that we're having to deal with right now are any worse or any better than the nasty arseholes if it goes the other way. I mean, somebody goes, oh, you must be a member of the EDL or BNP. No, because they're racist scumbags. The EDL started with a genuine idea about, it was all about the grooming gangs, and they went a bit too far because that's far right. Yeah, it's in the name of these shite scams. Yeah, absolutely. Same thing happened with us in Alpha Omega. Oh, yeah, I remember Alpha. Well, at least Alpha will be having a wonderful chat with Carl now. Now they're both up at the gates. I'm sure they'll be having a very interesting geeky chat. I certainly will. You can say a trans woman is a man on Twitter. Just get banned. There is no free speech. It's a difficult thing. I mean, I'd argue that, especially if we want to take what's going on with India, Willoughby, and J.K. Rowling, which is, I've got a nice big a box of popcorn for that one. That should be fun. BNP, etc., are radical socialists. They are, in reality. This is the thing that people don't really notice. They think, oh, it's got to be far right, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. And it's not. There's, it's terrible. It really is terrible. So, firstly, to sort of sum it up, we didn't need that statue. That statue was done on purpose. Apologies to Lawrence Fox for me saying you must be better. I get where you're coming from, mate. I understand. Now I've listened to a few things that you said and, things like that. I understand where you're coming from. You just sometimes have to think. I know Father Robinson does pull you up a lot when you make mistakes. Sometimes we're being crass. Even my liberal lecturer says he supports JK. Well, exactly. You can't argue with it. I mean, India Willoughby is a man. And to turn around and say, I'm protected by law, it's a hate crime. Okay. Sometimes, you have to be careful what you wish for because it's a fight that you shouldn't. I mean, just screaming, it's just pathetic. It's really childish. And the dude who did the interview, I mean, God, for him to turn around and say, I mean, he's not the brightest of sparks. Where's the statue for all the Jewish soldiers? Exactly. If you are doing one, you've got to do it for all. And if you're not doing it for all, you're doing it for a reason. If you're doing it for a reason, we know what the reason is. And the reason is, and okay, let's be honest, £1 million on a statue. I don't give a shit about that. Yeah, where the statues, exactly. There aren't any. Well, there is. It's called the cenotaph. The glorious dead. That covers everyone. It's what it's always covered. It means anyone who's served anywhere. That's what it means. It's for all soldiers that fought in both wars for us. That's what it says, the glorious dead. It says it in big letters. I mean, I know it's a lot harder to read now because we have to put barriers around so stupid morons can't deface it. But it's quite funny because they would desecrate that if they had the opportunity, even though that celebrates their dead. That apparently they've not been asking for a statue to be created for, which we're paying £1 million to create that no one fucking wanted, no one asked for, but it was done specifically to annoy it. Censorship is inherently bad no matter who's doing it. It is. It is. But we have to stick to rules, really. It's tough. It really is tough. So this statue, I don't get it. It's going to be built. No one asked for it. No one wanted it. It's done to piss everybody off, and it succeeded. It succeeded. Put a little more fuel on that fire. If soldiers of the Second World War could see what's happening now, they would have given the country to Germany. This year I'm going to spend some time in Normandy. Fingers crossed, as long as everything falls in place. Because I want to be there for the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. I've been before. I've been to the war memorials and the massive graveyard, especially the one over at Omaha Beach, or by Omaha Beach. And all those thousands of young men who died for nothing. They fought for the freedoms we give away, that our government pisses up the wall. They'll be all spinning in the graves. And there are soldiers, modern day soldiers, people I know who died for what? I'm hugely proud of this country and its flag and what it represents, or used to represent. And it hurts. Oh, hello, File 13. He's having his first break, is he? Old Biden having a rest because his brain can't function for more than 50 seconds. Yeah, I mean, just to let you know, if you haven't noticed, it's State of the Union address, and for the first time, history has been made that a serving US president requires 2 breaks during the speech to have a rest because, well, he can't stand up for that long, I don't think. Don't think the animatronic systems work very well. People who like the flag are far right. You know why I'm far right? Because I love my country. Because I care about my children. Because of all the things that are so much against it. I have the Union Jack on my profile now because I'm proud of that flag. What's up, boys? Still moving, getting back to streaming. Check out the streams. Nice to see you all move, mate. Loving the Ghostbusters stuff. Just to let you know. Looks cool, man. Looks cool. And as I said, if being proud of my country and standing up for my country makes me a racist and a far-right scumbag, then so be it. If flags are far-right and they fly for the Palestinian flag, they'd be... Exactly. You see, the simple truth of the matter is you live in this country. There is one flag. If you live here, you live under the flag, the Union flag. Before anyone says it's not the Union Jack, it's only a Union Jack if it's flying off the back of a ship. It's not a Union Jack, it's a Union flag. That's why the Union flag is there. Yep, we've seen it here. We've seen it in this country where people are being arrested for carrying the Union flag. We had a man arrested holding up a sign saying, "Is Hamas a terrorist organisation? Yes or yes." We have people, a man being threatened on his doorstep for filming and shouting, "This isn't Palestine," and a policewoman tried to arrest him. He was standing in his own doorway. It's heartbreaking. I love watching and listening to all those old veterans who've sadly gone. We remember their words. We do. There's not many of them left now. And I really do feel so... Ask any squaddy. Was it worth it? Was the sleepless nights worth it? Was those horrible memories worth it? Was losing a limb worth it? Was losing your best friend worth it? Storming those beaches in Normandy worth it? Sitting by and saying nothing worth it? If someone ignores my human rights, I ignores theirs. Correct. I saw that sign, yeah. Well, I'm going to start waving my country's flag of Norfolk again. Fly it. The Union flag is a flag of freedom and liberty. Better than the Hamas terrorist flag or the bloody myriad of fascist rainbow Reich flags. Correct. Yes, hello, Stephen, and yes, free Sam. Now, I did a video, obviously, on Sam And I know that they're saying always this. The simple truth of the matter is, if Sam got arrested and put in prison for those stickers, then so should everybody else who's ever put a sticker out. Be a BLM sticker, be a Palestine parachutist on the back of your backpack. The law is there, and the law should always be applied fairly. But again, that's a problem we have. We have a two-tier justice system here in the UK. We have a two-tier policing service here in the UK. And that's what we're fighting against. I wouldn't be here today if they didn't storm their beaches. I'm grateful. Exactly. But it's not even been taught in school now. I'm going to take my kids. I am going to do like how I was taken when I'm stood at the bottom, walked to the end, to the sea, where the sea was lapping up, turned round and looked how far those lads on Omaha Beach had to go. Nobody got arrested for putting an illegal quota on Elizabeth Town. Well, exactly. The laws have been, everything's being violated. The thing is, it's like everything else. The laws are being violated because there's no one enforcing them. There is no enforcement. I mean, there was, I don't know if anyone saw it on Twitter, where bailiffs were evicting a stage 4 cancer patient woman, and the police were there. You can't get the police to turn up if your house gets robbed. If you're going to back up somebody being evicted, there was 6 of them. Now, some of you do know I have sort of an inside thing with the police, and I understand the strain the police are under, manning-wise. But as I showed earlier, if you can turn up in riot gear for the end of a Chelsea football match, but can't turn up in riot gear for a hate march, and it is a hate march, they might actually try and fucking lie, it's a hate march. They are seeing how pushing to see how far they can go before they make the move. Yes, which is why we have to push back. Which is why I no longer talk about TV shows and talk about this. I realise my statement is very general. I grant we need rules because we're just sophisticated animals. Most have seen me left, but I was a soldier. I love my... Exactly. We love our country. We love our country and we don't like seeing the way it's going. And it's that simple. Yep. Agenda 30. It's just, we need the spirit of Cable Street. We need something. We desperately need something. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Yeah? Yeah. Remember, no one voted the WEF in, nor did we vote WHO in. Yeah, these two people pull all the strings. We are in dark times. I did run a poll. Let's have a quick look how it's going. And it's logged me out. It's logged my chat out. Oh, no. So we'll go alternate. We'll bring it up. We're going on the other one. I'm on 2 now. So hold on a second while I just sort myself out. Because my chat thing logged itself out, which was really useful of it. There we go. That's better. I can bring that up now. We have a look. Right then. So I had a poll at the beginning of this, which said, do you think we're in very dark times? There's been 23 votes. 91% said yes. 9% said no. I'm going to end that poll right now and I'll get the chat. It's the bugs. We need a new Magna Carta. No, actually, we don't need a new Magna Carta. We just need to uphold the one we got. That would be nice, wouldn't it? You know, that wonderful piece of paper that gave us all our rights. It would be really, really nice if, you know, if we could do that. Yeah, I'm ever so sorry I went all as then. I do apologise. Thank you. Hello, Mayfair Carpenter. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. and thanks for thanks for everybody who's joined me on this stream. As I said, I will be getting the other streams up and running. In the Magna Carta, we had the right to bear arms too. Yes, we did, and then we used an incident to ban all our weapons, and we sucked it up. Yeah. Our Bill of Rights in 1698 has never been rescinded. Correct. That's absolutely right. We have. Did everything want to start time? Yes. Please all pop over to Sadako's channel and see the video he's done recently. His videos are awesome. And another guy who needs to be supported. Another voice that needs to be pushed up. Because that's what we need. We need more subs. We need people speaking out. I did video on his dark time, but this shows him being a darker prognosis than mine. I tell it as it is. I tell it as I see it, unfortunately. It's hard to look for the light. It genuinely is. We are in dangerous, dark, evil times. We're surrounded by evil all around us. There are demons and there are monsters. The devil isn't hidden. Yeah, correct. Problem being, Sadako does some great stuff. If you've not been on his channel, please go over. Have a look at the stuff he does. He does some great stuff. And, give him a sub. He really does some great stuff. Don't blame Shinty for call. That's when they're going. But yes, that's exactly when a knee-jerk reaction from our government banned all weapons. Although you can still get weapons, it's just a little harder. But we can still technically get weapons. Yes, Mayfair, welcome. It's. I'm sorry if it's seems very dark, but it is. I mean, there's no way you can polish this turd. There's no way you can make this any better than it actually is, because I can't. But what I can say is, if we stand together, we have an opportunity to push back. The pushback in bits and bobs. Yes, exactly, Mayfair Carpet. Thank you. I forget to do that. Like, share, and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. Yeah, exactly. Well said, Cam. Sadako does some absolutely quality stuff. So pop on over to his channel. I think that's enough for. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, everybody has channels. Pop up. If you just look around, if you see people on here that just go and find fellow people. The thing is, oh, thanks, Lee. Any case, thanks, mate. Love you too. Thanks for popping in, mate. Much appreciated as always. We're being attacked because there are the right things about. Exactly. We're being attacked for common sense. We're being attacked because we don't like what we can see. It's not good enough. It's not acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable. I did a video a little bit earlier about this new thing on Hollyoaks, Channel 4, which is just disgusting. But they're going to get away from it. It's like the biggest red flag thing I've ever seen, which is basically saying we're coming for your children. I am subscribed to Paz. Yeah, Paz49. Great channel. The Reverend Simon Sideways, Angry Bootneck. Great channels. Great channels. Talk a lot of sense on there. That's another 3 at least. There are many others. Once you get onto one, you usually find all the others. It's okay, Sadako. You don't have to. Everybody thinks you're great. That's it. Andy the Gabby Cabby mentioned problem being on the other channel the other day. Yeah, that's another one. Andy the Gabby Cabby. That's another great channel. There are loads of people out there speaking up. There really is. I mean, don't forget, if you want to watch the Lotus Eaters, that's another great channel. Reclaim the Media. That's another great channel. Yeah, Paz is a good lad. He really is. After I made the video and said, and he actually said about, he's actually highlighting it. I thought, well, perhaps I need to look into it more deeply, and I did. And that's what I come to, is the fact that we don't need that damn statute. It's weird, as voting with your wallet is more important than voting in an election. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Yeah, and Carl's channel. Yeah, classic 80s fanboy, which is the guy in the picture. Yeah, angry about Penny Bunny. Oh, that's another one. Yeah, Herman, that's another one. Penny Bunny, she's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Some great quality stuff from there as well. If you want to get all these messages out, there's another one. If you can think of any more, just stick them up in the chat. You know, there's a lot of people out there talking, and we need to get more people talking. And we need to listen to each other and talk to each other, because we've got to do something. Now, some people are saying, oh, well, you know, you're just talking. Well, local elections are soon here in the UK, but we do it differently. My particular borough voted last year, I think it was. So there's no option. But the thing is, I am seriously giving consideration potentially to stand as a councillor in my local area, because it is time that, you know, we need to stand up and be counted. As I said, I'm looking into it. I'm not sort of saying 100% just yet, but I'm not going to just sit on here and talk. I'm actually going to try and do something. As much as it pains me to literally become something I don't like, but we've got to start affecting change somewhere. Something's got to happen. Something's got to give. But I'm prepared to do that, because time for talking here, we're coming to a stage where we need to do something else. We definitely need a change of governments. It's no good voting Labour. It's no good voting Conservatives, because they're both the same thing, for God's sake. And if you can't see that, then there's no hope for you. The politicians that are currently sitting in that house and were baying like stupid little children in a playground during the budget, that's what they're only there for themselves. They're only there for their own money. We need a change. We need to get people in there who actually give a shit about the country, who actually care about stuff, who have balls and backbones, who aren't afraid to tell the truth, to stand up. Reform is not trustworthy. No, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Reform is just controlled opposition. Some of the things that Reform say are quite good, but I can't trust Richard Tice as far as I could throw him. They're controlled opposition, very much akin to GB News and Talk TV were controlled media opposition. And like GB News is losing money hand over fist. And that, you know, they're pushing Neil Oliver onto online only because they don't want him there. And they do the same with Nigel Farage. Talk TV is now going online only. And again, the problem with that is they'll be there. So when you want to search for something, you're going to get them first. So the controlled opposition, the thing that's supposed to give you, you know, that hope and options and things like that. You know, it was all going to be this, it was all going to be that. I never fell for GB News. I never fell for Talk TV. I've not fallen for Reform either. They're all controlled opposition, because the simple truth of the matter is, if you actually speak the truth and exactly how things should be done, really, you get cancelled. They would never allow. Nobody's going to pay for online only GB News. Nah, wouldn't want to do that. It's just we have to be careful, because it'd be like if I started up but this is blue Labour Tories in a nutshell. They constantly do the wrong thing, wake up at the last minute, and end up causing their own causality loop. Yeah, well, the thing is, I've said, I'll put a tweet, and I've actually bookmarked it so I can bring it out. This next election will be the lowest turnout in electoral history, because people just couldn't be bothered. Labour will get in, not because they're the greatest party, not because there's a huge vote for it. It's because no one's going to turn up. David Curtin from the Heritage Party seems very near the mark so far. Oh, yeah, so far. Isn't it bad that we see somebody like that and we automatically think, what's going on? GB News went downhill when David Sartori said, yeah. It's just got worse. GB News, The thing is, when GB News launched, there was hope. When you had Neil Oliver, you had Calvin Robinson, Father Robinson, my apologies, Lawrence Fox, Dan Wooten. When you had these people on, there was a possibility, and they got rid of them. I know Dan's now quit, and he's going to open up his own, Dan Wooten Unleashed online, so he's going to be free to say what he wants to say. It's just they're pushing us out of the mainstream. GB News was never going to be what it said it was. It was never going to be the platform of free speech, because when the truth was being told, which is what free speech is to defend, the finding and the telling of the truth, they were got rid of. So it's gone. GB News was never going to be anything. It's going to be difficult. So back to the election, as I said, we're going to have the lowest turnout ever. Labour will get in because they will. And once Labour get in, if you think it's bad now, it's going to be worse. I mean, they're all for, making hate crime against LGBTQ higher, so you'll get done for it. It's to sit and look for the first time in a long time and actually go, we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. Mark Stein was brilliant to listen to, especially when he had Douglas Murray on. And what did they do to Mark Stein? Yeah, that's right, fucked him off. Mark Stein and Douglas Murray, two great people, very enjoyable people to listen to. Labour let the immigrants in the first place. Well, yeah, it was Tony Blair opening the doors, and his own advisor said it was specifically done to, they went out looking for the right people to bring in just to piss off the right. What's happening with Labour bringing immigrants in is exactly the same what's happening with the Democrats bringing their immigrants in, because what they're doing is they're trying to import their votes. That's what they're doing. It's as simple as that. It genuinely is. Right then, as it is now 10 minutes past midnight, and I need to get some Labour imported over this. That's right. I am now going to bring this one to a close, because it's been going quite a long time. Can I say thank you to all of you in the chat? You've all been absolutely wonderful. Can I also say welcome to a new one? Yeah, the way Hoyle fired hasn't been fired, Starmer hasn't been suspended for what they did. Because it doesn't matter. It was all done on purpose, mate. It was all on the, but no one cares. They just look after themselves, which is another example that's why we need a change of parliaments. Any case, gotta go. Thank you again for everybody who's watched. Thank you for everybody who's been in the chat. Thank you for everybody. It's been another great one. Thanks, PD. Thanks, Kurol. Thanks, Time Profit, and everybody else. Thank you to, as you were, Mayfair, for subbing. Thank you for everybody who's joined in. We'll be doing more streams, more videos coming out. I'm not going to stop off this. I'm not going to back down. Enough really is enough. Yeah, time flies, as I say. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having all of you with me as well. This statue and all the shit that's going on around it is the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't see a way forward unless, as I said, any moderate, if there's such a thing, Muslim wants to start speaking out. That would help. But I don't think it's going to go. So we're just going to have to fight. It's going to get dark. I'm going to hope and try and bring a little bit of light to everybody's life. Everybody needs to speak up, stand up. Don't forget to subscribe to all the channels we've covered. Let's get the message out that there is hope. It's very, very faint, but there is hope. So thank you once again for watching. And as always, I shall look forward to catching you in the next one. Good night. Look after each other. Yeah, because we never know how long we got. And I'll see you soon.